Come and dream with me.
Hello, welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every fortnight we get together to talk about movies, TV, and online content and help you answer the question, what will actually happen when we do get 6 seasons in a movie? I think we just pack it in. Media's done. Don't need any more. I'm your host, Ashley Hobley. Joining me today, Dylan Blight.
It would be crazy if, this story, started popping up this week, right? And I refuse. It's at the stage where I'm like, I don't want to, get excited about it. You know what I mean?
He says it's written. The idea's there.
Yeah, but written is a lot different to...
Made.
or in production or,
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. Just recreating Greendale for a start, that's not a simple task.
Yeah.
I would imagine at this point. How are they going to get all the cast, contracts? Are they going to Donald Glover back? He's got to come back.
We're talking about Community, by the way, for anyone who's very confused.
Yeah, if you haven't worked out, we're talking about Community. If you don't know what we're talking about, what are you doing with your life? But yes.
Yeah. Watch Community.
Watch Community.
All 6 seasons. To get ready for the movie.
For the movie, that if it ever comes out. On today's episode, we'll be talking about what's in our watch history, giving some thumbs to some trailers, talking about some news, and then giving you this week's top 3. Before we kick things off, this week, starting tomorrow at time of release, we'll be releasing this year's copy edition of our Emmy special pilot reviews. So the shows that we'll be doing this year are Dope Sick, Abbott Elementary, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Ozark, and Euphoria. If you've seen those shows, come have a listen. If you haven't seen those shows, watch the pilot. Just come listen to each episode and hear what we have to think. You can also check it out. Our Emmy predictions, which we've already done for this year. Dylan is certain Ray one is going to win.
Castle, baby! Let's go, Ray!
Okay, yeah, Discord cut
Let's go, Bob!
for that out.
Let's go, Bob! Let's go, Ray!
Alright.
Let's go, MC! Pass the ball. Kick a goal.
It's Emmys, not sports.
Right, so they're my sports.
Yeah. Alright, let's kick things off. There's a new Lord of the Rings series out on Prime Video. First episode's dropped on Friday night. We've got a new podcast that we launched a month and a half ago called Lord of the Rings Extended, in which we talk about all the Middle-earth stuff. We've already covered all the Hobbit films, all the Lord of the Rings films, and now we're doing episode by episode breakdown or discussions of Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. But Dylan, what are your thoughts on the first 2 episodes of this new series?
I'm loving it. I thought 2 episodes were great. I love being back in Middle Earth. I've really doing this whole rewatch. I think has really made me dive into Middle Earth in a way and enjoying it a lot more than I probably have previously. I think a growing appreciation for the franchise recently, or that universe. I guess not saying I disliked it obviously, but I'm a bit more loving it. So doing the movies coming into this is really great. And then just seeing the world, seeing it thousands of years, whatever it is before the time that we're sort of used to, is really cool. Hundreds of years, whatever, I don't know. Timeline's really confusing. Hey, Ash.
It is.
The cast is really great. I like the different stories we've got going on. I like the small number of characters that are versions, that are people that we know from the movies. Obviously, Galadriel and Elrond are the 2 characters. But yeah, I think it's Amazon Prime. You can tell they put a lot of money into the show. It looks like $1 million, and they want this to be a massive hit. So I think it's off to a great start with that 2-episode premiere, to the point that HBO got scared and dropped the House Dragon episode on YouTube. So did you see that? I
saw that the episode was free.
Yeah, well, that's 100% why they did it.
They were terrified. The number 1 premiering show of all time, the highest rating show that they've ever started, which gained more viewers in its second week. They're terrified of this Lord of the Rings show. So
no, I don't think they're terrified, but I definitely feel like they're for some reason fighting a fight I don't feel like they need to. If you know what I mean? There's no way they didn't drop that episode because they like on that day. Why drop it on the same day Lord of the Rings starts? No need. I think they're trying to fight. They're trying to fight a fight they don't need to. But that's why they did it.
Could be.
Why else would you drop it on that day?
It's a Friday. People watch it over the weekend.
No, 100% do it for that. Yeah, it was unnecessary by HBO, but anyway.
Yeah, because everybody already seen the episode. Yeah, I liked it. I think it feels quite long. It's kind of dragged out. I was kind of confused by the timelines, but I'm going to blame Kieran for that because, he can't get his ages correct. They're all over the place. I think he did a poor job of explaining the timelines of where this was going to be set, and that confused me, so then I was confused going in. But, it's clearly set before, Sauron, before they make the Rings of Power, before then, even though the first episode takes place over several centuries. It's kind of weird. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It looks very pretty. All the people look very pretty. It's interesting to see. I think they've done a great job with their Galadriel and Elrond. They're both fantastic and real fun to watch. They got these Hobbit ancestors. They're interesting, I guess. And then there's some random dude who falls from the sky. Spoilers. Who may or may not be... who may or may not have cost Kieran $100. We don't know.
Yes, you should definitely go listen to the podcast if you're watching it and find out why I saved Kieran $100, which I most certainly did.
Or did he? Don't know. Listen to find out. High stakes. High stakes. So I went out and checked out. I was invited to a screening of DC League of Superpets, which is set to come out this Thursday at time of release here in Australia. It follows Crypto, the super dog, Superman's pet dog, who, is his best friend, super close. Crypto's super clingy. He only loves Superman, is not super ingrained with other pets, doesn't know how to really talk to them or anything, because, he's super and he's, strong and, he just likes being a superhero and Superman's best friend. But, Superman is he might be starting this thing with Lois Lane, Maybe he's about to propose. I'm like, that will change things for Crypto. But before any of that can happen, this fragment of orange kryptonite comes to Earth, which unfortunately gets captured by Lex Luthor. But orange kryptonite does not have any effect on Superman, and it doesn't have any effect on any humans. But on pets, it gives them superpowers.
Is this canon or is this a SGW dog of gender? Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely canon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is part of the DCEU, I'm very sure.
Okay, alright.
Yeah. So, you cut to, this animal shelter where there's a bunch of animals, being held until they get adopted. And there is a guinea pig who formerly used to be tested on by Lex Luthor, voiced by who is it? Kate McKinnon, and she's in love with Lex Luthor and thought he was the best, even though he was performing all these experiments on her, making her lose all her fur and all kind of stuff. She gets the orange kryptonite, gets superpowers. She gets telekinetic powers and shit, and then all these other animals in this shelter get superpowers as well. Then she proceeds to capture the Justice League, and now Crypto has to team up with these animals to rescue the Justice League. This is a fun time. I laughed a lot. He's very silly. Just lots of in-jokes. A lot of adult humor, I feel like, throughout it. There is a turtle called Myrtle, played by Natasha Lyonne, who, can't see, really, because she's old. Of course, she's very slow. Definitely trying to eat this lettuce that she thinks is beating her all the time, because it just
does the turtle at one point smoke a cigarette and go, Thursday, what a concept.
No, it doesn't. But
okay.
It does drop a lot of... There is way more bleeping in this movie than I was expected coming in. She just says it and they just bleep it out, So, you know exactly what she's saying. Yeah, really enjoyable. The art looks pretty solid. It's not Pixar or Pixar level animation or anything, but it does the job. I think like some of the emotional moments don't quite land, and I think that's because they're between Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson, so it's hard to. They're not really gonna make you feel the emotional feels. But yeah, lots of fun in jokes, a lot of references. Anybody who loves the canon of DC Comics will get a kick out of various different things, whether it's things in the background or like they have Wonder Woman in her invisible jet, which they keep running into because it's invisible, or as they call it, transparent, because that's what it really is. You know, you can kind of see it. It's not 100% invisible. But yeah, really enjoyable, fun cast. Yeah, I would be keen to get more League of Superpets in the future. Yeah, there is an after credit scene that you can watch, but it's all over online. There's no need to sit through the credits for anything.
Hey, I want to see that after credits on the big screen. Yeah?
That's true. It's very pretty, you know. There is also the guinea pig also inadvertently gives, she purposely gives a bunch of other guinea pigs superpowers. And they all get like super random ones. Like one can give ice powers and one gets fire powers, and they're like, "Oh, we can't attack at the same time because I'll melt her ice, or she'll burn put out my fire." And that kind of stuff. There's some wacky guinea pigs
making fun of the X-Men.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, guinea pigs. They're the villains of this year.
Did you ever watch G-Force?
No, I've never watched G-Force.
I love G-Force.
Yeah.
Side note: guinea pigs.
Also, animated. She's like, this guinea pig does not like hamsters or at all. Like, just comes up with incredible. There's beef between hamsters and guinea pigs.
Okay. Cats and dogs, guinea pigs and hamsters.
Yep,
Hamtaro.
Exactly the same. So yeah, DC League of Superpets. Go check it out. I also went to a screening of Beast. So this is the new film starring Idris Elba, in which he plays a.
Which he ended the relationship with his daughter in real life.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you don't know, his daughter auditioned to play the role of his daughter, and she got...
And she lost.
She didn't get the role because they said that she didn't have enough chemistry.
I love this story.
It's a great story. And then she blamed Idris. Idris isn't the casting director. Isn't Idris the director?
This is the thing. If any other time, like a big time Hollywood actor just hired, like Will Smith or something, like gets like his son in all these movies and stuff, everyone's like, like he's just getting his family and everything, nepotism, all that stuff. The second, like Idris Elba just followed, like he's an actor just doing things as it is. Casting director and director do their job. They're like, nah, for this role, you're not doing good enough. Then all of a sudden, everyone turns on Idris and is like, you fucking piece of shit. Like I'm like, you can literally never please anyone. Like it's impossible.
I can't believe nepotism failed.
I can't believe nepotism failed. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he plays the father of two girls. He's separated with their mother for like a year, but then she got cancer and passed away. So he takes them to South Africa to kind of like get back to their grassroots because their mother was born there and lived there for a long period of time. Meanwhile, there's this lion pride. You know, there's the male lion, all the female lions. They get trapped. They get caught in a trap by poachers, and all the females get killed. But then the male lion goes psycho after seeing all the female members of its pride get murdered.
Wait, can I just pause for a sec? Are you telling me at some point it doesn't pop up and do a SpongeBob meanwhile, but we do cut to
no. This actually happens before they start flying, so I mean that's how it opens.
Okay.
I probably should have. That would have been amazing.
Because you're like, meanwhile, I'm like, you tell me there's films like cutting between.
No, yeah. Okay. So yeah, there's a crazy psycho lion that's killing everybody and everybody. It's out for vengeance.
Sounds like it's justified though.
Yeah, but Idris Elba didn't do anything. It's the poachers.
No, but
it's going out there killing people with no regard, like not even to eat or anything. It's just slashing their throats and shit. So, yeah, they get chased out. They get caught in a confrontation with this crazy lion. And they've kind of have to deal with it. Very tense. I mean, it's your normal average creature feature, I guess. There is an element of people doing dumb things, which is kind of frustrating. And because at one point they crash a car and like they're using that car as like a a base to keep themselves away from the lion. Somebody goes off away from the car and is away for longer than they said they would be. So they start beeping the horn.
Why?
In the middle of nowhere. As if that's not going to attract the lion. It's not smart. Yeah. And the front is a bit like front loaded with like all the emotional and history and that kind of stuff. Like setting the stakes for these, or like building up these characters as to understand the stakes and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I found it quite enjoyable, even though it's not my kind of thing. Sharlto Copley is also in this movie. He's quite enjoyable.
Oh, he's the guide or whatever, isn't he?
Yeah, he's an anti-poacher, but yes.
Anti-poacher, right.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a good guy.
But yeah, he's Idris Elba's longtime friend, so okay. He's their guide throughout. So
love a bit of Sharlto Copley. So
yeah, he's really enjoyable in this film. So yeah, Beast, it's a good time. Doesn't outstay its welcome. It's only like 90 minutes or something like that. It's pretty short.
Good.
I think The Lion looks pretty solid. I mean, I would say it's pretty close to being. It might be a little bit lower than The Lion King for lion animation.
I was going to say, in a scheme of Leo versus the Bear, which you haven't seen, I don't think.
No,
that's like up there for like the best anime, like CGI animal. I think that's the lion, the bear from Revenant.
Yeah, not quite there, but And yes, Idris Elba does at one point punch the lion.
Fuck yeah!
So if that's what you want,
take my money.
Doesn't feel like it's enough punching, but it is a lion. So what you gonna do? All right. What else have we got to talk about?
Nothing. That's right, eh?
That's it. Thanks for coming this week.
Let's go.
Actually, speaking of House of Dragon, we have not talked about House of Dragon on this podcast.
True. Were we speaking about House of Dragon?
We speak about House of Dragon on our Game of Thrones podcast, South of King's Landing, where we talk about it each episode. Yeah. So Dylan, what are your thoughts on House of the Dragon after 2 episodes?
2 episodes in, I think it's very good. Return to form. Loving all the characters were being introduced. Very much similar to my thoughts on Lord of the Rings series. I feel like it feels great to be back in the world, but also so much earlier than we're used to, and seeing these places, locations, and things that were like this. Like it feels the same but different. And I think that's good. Building upon these universes and stuff like that. I think everyone was being introduced to is like super interesting. It's the stuff that drew me into Game of Thrones originally, which was the Game of Thrones, like the political intrigue, like that sort of backing in such a violent atmosphere and time period and what have you. And having a lot more dragons in the show from the outset is certainly really cool. When obviously Game of Thrones built up to having these dragons, like when they grew, like be such a big moment. But this show's just like every motherfucker, like it's focused on a family where everyone just has a dragon. So it's very, very cool. Yeah, I like the way we're going 2 episodes in, and I can't wait to see how it continues. Everyone's going to die, of course, but that's fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, because it's set 200 years before Game of Thrones. Eventually, they're all going to get old and die. So.
No, I'm telling you right now, the only person who doesn't die in this main cast is like, I'm going to say it's like the fucking the sea dude, no, whatever. I don't know, someone random on the council or some shit. Everyone else dead. Everyone else dies horribly. I'm putting it out there right now. Everyone else dies horribly, not peacefully. Yeah. Someone else, like everyone else, is getting stabbed, poisoned, some shit. Like I know how this shit goes.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it as well. It feels like really good Game of Thrones. I'm enjoying the cast. Matt Sith is the standout so far. Although Australian actress Millie Alcock is very good as well.
Gonna miss her when she's gone.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's only a couple more episodes, and maybe rumored to be a couple more episodes. So yeah, I would highly recommend House of the Dragon. It's even though these first 2 episodes have had a lot of uncomfortable things to watch, whether violently or like relationship wise.
I mean, I would say the thing in the first episode is a lot more comfortable than the thing you're talking about in general. But
wow,
like. It's just 2 people talking. I don't feel like that's as hard to watch as the other thing, but
that's true. The implications of what they're talking about.
The implication is, not good, but yeah. If I was to compare 2 people talking and walking, potentially
to the actual seeing of something.
To the actual seeing of the other thing we're talking about, yes, I would say that one.
That's fair. That is fair.
Yes.
All right, so yeah, check out House of the Dragon on Binge or Foxtel, I guess. I've been watching the new documentary that's dropped on Disney Plus. Welcome to Wrexham. So this is the documentary series.
I want to watch this. This is the Ryan Reynolds one, right?
This is the Ryan Reynolds, Rob McElhenney documentary about them buying the Welsh football club Wrexham United, I guess, in Wales. They're in like one of the lowest leagues in the English Football League or British Football League, I guess. They buy the club during the pandemic. They start this process. Which is actually
a good thing. This is a good thing because
this is a good thing for the club because obviously they got the money and they can use. They invest in a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Rob McElhenney makes fun of Ryan Reynolds. He's a wise investor. He's got a bunch of irons in the fire. It's not just his acting career. He's got his gins and his other.
I was going to say he's in the alcohol as well, isn't he?
Yeah, lots of stuff. They had never met in person prior to starting to buy this club.
Okay, so stop there because I have a lot of questions about this show. So how and why? Like, without going into major spoilers, like why? This is the thing that confused me because I do want to watch this. And I haven't watched the trailer, but I've seen the poster and everything, and like I didn't realize it actually. I don't think
they've really gotten into the why.
Okay,
they just love sport. Rob McElhenney started to get interested in football when one of the writers from whatchamacallit?
Apple show?
Mythic Quest was watching it during these breaks. He started to get interested in football, and then it kind of grew from there. And then he got Ryan Reynolds in after they became friends online.
British, so yeah.
No, he's Canadian.
Yeah, same.
I don't think so. Yeah,
French Canadian.
So it pretty much just follows the first episode is them like getting approved to buy the club, kind of exploring the town of Wrexham and like how much this club means to the actual people who live in Wrexham and like support the club. And then from there it's kind of a normal sports documentary following the club. But then you have Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney talking about different elements like who should we get as manager? And
does this not just seem like a weirdly live action, like a weirdly documentary version of like what Ted Lasso was about? Like it's a bit different, but
it is different. But yeah, it hits similar beats of Americans coming in and like
buying
not really understanding. I think one of the funny things about the show is it'll pop up every now and then with like an infographic of like what different words mean. Like it'll be like English, pitch, American, field, Welsh, whatever the Welsh word is. Because beautiful language. It's interesting so far. Or any show that has Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds like pop up every now and then is going to be super enjoyable. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It drops 2 episodes every Thursday. So there's currently 4 episodes for people to watch at time of release. So yeah, check out that on Disney Plus. Also on Disney Plus was a series that I've been hearing nothing but good news all year. The Bear. So this is a comedy drama series that came to FX back in June. Follows a guy called Carmine. He's just called Carmi, who was a big chef in New York, high-end, fancy shit. Was considered got an award for like one of the best young chefs in the world at one point. Comes back to Chicago to work at his brother's like burger joint, I guess. I don't know exactly how they describe the restaurant. Hang on,
is it a restaurant or a van?
It's an Italian beef sandwich shop.
Right.
After his brother dies.
Okay.
His brother gives him the shop, and so he comes in to run it and work there. And it just kind of follows the trials and tribulations of him having to deal with like the aftermath of his brother dying, while trying to run this place, which is not run in the same way that he's used to his shop's running.
So he was like training to be like a elite, like 5-star restaurant chef or something.
Yes, pretty much a Michelin kind of star chef. And then he's coming to run the sandwich shop.
He was training for a full like yes chef like atmosphere, and now
yes,
it's like pass
there's
me
a
the
lot
fucking
of yes
salad.
chef, and he kind of explaining that kind of stuff. I'm 4 episodes in. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's pretty fantastic. Like even just like the food looks amazing. Look, it's quite funny. There's all these different dynamics. And all the characters really interesting.
Wait, is this a documentary or is this a real?
This is a drama. Yeah, this is fictional.
Fictional. Okay, yeah. I was like, I should clarify. Yeah, okay. I was like,
yes.
How did I get the camera crew so quick? Like when he just found his brother. Okay, that makes more sense. The way you were describing it, I was like, is this a documentary? Okay.
No, it's a fictional story. It's a drama. Drama / just. They're only like 20-something minute episodes, so. Yeah, check out The Bear. It's all the episodes.
Why is it called
dropped.
The Bear?
I'm not exactly clear.
I was like,
it does open. It does open with a dream sequence that does feature a bear at the start.
Okay.
So
metaphorical.
It could be. I think it is metaphorical. I think he might be called the bear at some point.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's the bear.
His surname's Bizzardo, so maybe the bear. I don't know.
People are like, that's too hard to pronounce. Let's just call you the bear.
Yeah, and the weird thing is the restaurant's called the Original Beef of Chicagoland. That's the name of the store.
That's weird.
It is weird. But that might just be an American thing, I think, maybe. So yeah, check out The Bear. It's pretty fantastic. I'm going to talk about 2 season finales that I watched. We got season 2 of Only Murders in the Building. I don't think I've talked about the latest season of Only Murders. I don't
know. All I know is I saw the news the other day that they cast what's his face for season 3.
Paul Rudd is in season 3. Because in the season finale they kind of tease what they're going to do the next season. So, and Paul Rudd shows up, which is a nice surprise. I've enjoyed this season of Only Murders in the Building. I don't think it's quite hit the highs, and it of course it's having that second season syndrome of like not as quite living up to the standard of first season for the most part. The final episode does have a fantastic reveal of who did the murdering in the building, and why. It's like it definitely has that feeling of like a Agatha Christie, like all the suspects are in the same room, and we're going to find out who did it.
Is it a different feeling? Like at the end of the first season, did that? Yeah, okay.
It's different. There's a whole bunch of new people who may have murdered them. So, yeah, it's interesting. Like every episode, there's kind of a new suspect who could possibly be behind everything. It just feels like they go in a lot of different tangents throughout the season. But the core cast of Martin Short, Steve Martin, and Selena Gomez is so fun to like hang around with. It's like, okay, let's go see what shenanigans you get into this week. But yeah, strong finale. Excited to see where they go for season 3. There is a bit of a time jump, which is good because at the end of season 2, like picked up like straight after season 1, and they're still podcasting, And they even address like they're struggling to like meet the standards of the first season of their podcast and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's enjoyable, lots of in-jokes and that kind of stuff. So Only Murders in the Building. It's a great watch this season. And then I finished watching The Resort. So this is the series starring Kristen Milotti and William Jackson Harper, in which they come across the phone of
a murder in the building.
No, there wasn't a murder in the building.
Okay.
There's 2 disappearing children, well, teenagers, at a resort that they found a phone from that's been sitting in the forest or the jungle for 15 years. And they go about trying to find what happened to these kids. And it gets weird. Really enjoyable. I don't think all my answers were satisfactorily answered, and I feel like the build-up was maybe better than the actual payoff. But it was very emotional, and Kristen Milotti, like, fantastic in this episode, this finale. Yeah, very powerful. Yeah, but overall, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, just a really good time. So The Resort, only 8 episodes. There may be a second season. I don't know. I thought it was being pitched as a miniseries, and it could definitely be one season, but, or there could be potential there for a second season, or a spin-off, or who knows what. Yeah, so The Resort on Stan. Check it out. It's really good. All right, let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. Dylan, you watched all Sandman now, right?
I have watched Old Sandman. Oh, I haven't watched the special yet. But,
you watched the series.
Sorry, I've watched the series. Overall thoughts, very good. I think the second half is nowhere good as the first half, though. And that's simply because the first half was so good that it made the second, when we switched to the storyline about the Dream Cyclone or whatever the fuck she's called, when we sort of switch gears to that after Sandman gets his objects, which is like the first half of the season's plot, I guess, like him just getting his shit back together. I feel like that stuff was just so good, those episodes, that when we switch gears, it's not like the episodes are bad, it's just we got such a good first half that it feels like a step down. But overall, very good, very great. Love the way it's shot, love the way everything looks, love the cast and everyone. Like a lot of people just feel like such pitch perfect casting. Keen to see more, especially with the setup of this war with desire, I guess, and stuff that we're sort of potentially teasing at the end and whatever else. But really, 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 really enjoyed it for the most part.
Good to hear. Go check out Sandman. If you follow Neil Gaiman on Twitter, you need to watch the Sandman, because apparently it's very important that you watch the Sandman.
Well, apparently, it doesn't. So Netflix, if you want to support a show, you got to watch it in the first 28 days. So.
In its entirety, yeah.
In its entirety,
or just let it play.
Episode, or let it play.
Put it on, walk away.
Yeah.
Turn off
the setting. I don't know if you can. Is that a thing you can do that says are you still there? No, probably not.
No, I don't think so. I watched Lock and Key season 3. Finally got around to it.
It's final season, right? No?
Final season. Did you watch season 2? I can't remember.
I did not know.
I guess I'm going to kind of spoil season 2. Season 2, they defeat Dodge. They think everything's fine, but they accidentally... Oh, no. Another demon creature from the other dimension gets released in the body of an 18th century, 17th century soldier. Like one of the British soldiers. It's in his body. From the well house or whatever. I don't know. There's more keys. There's more running around. He's trying to get all the keys so he can open his own portal to the other dimension. And they're trying to stop him. It's fine. I think it's good the show ended. There are some satisfying moments, but I felt like a little bit like it was kind of going in circles a little bit. There seemed to be a lot of hostage situations where people being held for very short periods before getting away and that kind of stuff. But it does have a satisfying ending, I guess. It kind of ends the way you would expect a show about magical keys to end. Enjoyable. There's a couple of really fantastic emotional payoffs and that kind of stuff. And I feel like they definitely leaned into Amelia Jones being a bit of a star now. So she sings multiple times in this season. So
they're like, oh, you're in that
singing movie.
That singing movie. I can get your voice out.
Yep. Lock and Key, crazy that it actually finally got made properly. I guess. I'd be interested. I haven't looked at what people have been saying about the season, so it's hard to say, but I think, it's pretty fine. I also watched the documentary Running with the Devil, The Wild World of John McAfee.
I watched this, actually. Did I check into this?
You may have, and I didn't check it.
Okay. I did watch this.
So this is a documentary following John McAfee, who's the creator of the antivirus software, who got very rich, then moved to a foreign country.
I can't remember. Yeah, it was like an island or whatever.
It's a South American country in which He's pretty much allowed to do whatever he wants, except murder his neighbor, which he is accused of doing, and then which he proceeded to flee the country with. In the process, some journalists from Gawker joined him. Was it Gawker or?
It was like Vice, I think. Or something
Vice, that's it. Yeah, join him as he tries to flee the country, and they're traveling with him. So that's where a lot of this footage in this is coming from. Them filming their adventures with John McAfee as he's trying to flee this country. I thought it was okay. I mean, there's some interesting footage here, but this documentary didn't really have much to say other than John McAfee is a weird dude. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think it's a very good documentary. I definitely was watching it. I got into bed and I tried to go to sleep, and then so here's why I didn't check in, because I forgot. I lay in bed and I'm like I should go to sleep early tonight. And I laid there and did that thing where I laid there for like 15 minutes. I'm like, fuck it, I'm still awake. So I was like, I flicked this on, thinking I'll just watch like half of it and then like just fall asleep. Anyway, I ended up watching the whole thing, but I was also just playing Marvel Snap the entire time. So, which sort of like helped, because I don't think it's a very good documentary. I feel like there's some interesting stuff in here that you could watch as sort of like a 10-minute clip and be like, this shit's wild. But like as a whole documentary, it doesn't really have anything much at all to say other than, hey, there's some like crazy stuff in here, which there is, I guess. Like he's some wild shit. The dude definitely killed his neighbor. That's all I'm gonna say. So.
Oh yeah, 100%.
100% killed him. I've no doubt on that. So.
It's a weird, wacky story. I think, as I pointed out, I've seen other people point out, the craziest part of the story is Vice put out a picture of them with John McAfee for an article saying, and they forgot to, the people on the site forgot to.
Yeah, to be fair, it wasn't the
remove
journalist.
the metadata.
It was
the journalist specifically told them to like screenshot the photo, not use the actual photo, but yes, so they were able to track them down and shit. So
yeah, it was quite entertaining. And no, yes, I just looked. I forgot to check in, and that's why, because I didn't think I was actually going to watch it all. So I did.
Do you think at the end of the documentary, the former fiance says something? Do you reckon it's true?
Oh yeah, no, bullshit.
Okay,
no way. I don't buy into that shit. That's the same as like Elvis is live and Tupac's live and whatever.
All right. So I've continued to watch the new Untold documentaries that the sports documentaries that Netflix has released. The first one, The Fall and Rise of And One. So this was a like street ball, basketball like apparel company who kind of got big after they did this kind of advertising campaign where they got like focused on street ball players, trying to recruit the best street ball players, and like had these promotional mixtapes in which they had VHS copies of people playing street ball to like hip hop music, and like these street ball players would pull off like crazy moves and that kind of stuff. I thought it was a rise of this company, which became massive. These and one players became huge celebrities for a period of time. It helped promote their clothing and apparel line and the shoes, and then it kind of all came crashing down very, very quickly. I think the rise is really interesting. The fall is not as much, because they don't really go into depth on the fall. I guess I'll kind of spoil it a little bit. The fall is they pretty much pinpoint the fall to Nike starts doing a street ball campaign. They're like, "Fuck you, we're Nike. Fucked."
Well, Nike, how do you say it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Nike. They put out one ad campaign in which people were playing like street basketball, and they were like, "Fuck, we're done. We need to sell the company. There's nothing else we can do. We're screwed." And yeah, it's an interesting documentary with lots of different characters, a lot of like disgruntled, like these players that they had like go on different tours and stuff. They're disgruntled because they felt like they weren't getting paid enough and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting. And then the next one is called Operation Flagrant Foul, which interviews a NBA referee who got found guilty of gambling on the games that he was involved in.
What's the trailer for this one? Looked interesting.
Yeah, really interesting. I guess like how it kind of like snowballed kind of also going into the thought process behind referees for a little bit. It's like very much like they talk about like them not liking certain people, so they'll like target them. Like the referees themselves would discuss among themselves, like, I'm going to give this person more fouls if they're there because they're a dick, or they gave me grief last time we had to deal with them or whatever. And they make some kind of large accusations about the NBA, almost pretty much calling him out as to be completely corrupt from the top down. So that's interesting. Even though like the NBA puts out a bunch of statements throughout the documentary saying that they've never been involved in any of this shady business and that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's interesting, especially because like gambling is very much illegal over in America, like not like how it is in Australia where there's like sports bet and like lots of.
I was like Las Vegas. Like, I was like,
not like online sports betting.
Right, gotcha. Yeah.
Or like betting on sports is not as like widespread as it here is in Australia. I don't believe so. I think it's like you're only allowed to bet in certain states.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So
talk about freedom.
Yeah. So it's a interesting documentary. That's everything in our watch history for this week. Let's move into some film news. And once again, Warner Brothers stealing the headlines.
Keep fucking that chicken.
They are. This time, maybe good news. Producer Dan Lin is in talks to take control of film, TV, and for superhero arm. Dan Lin, the executive turned producer who counts hits such as live-action Aladdin, the Lego Movie, and the It movies among his credits, is in talks to take the role of DC chief. Multiple sources told The Hollywood Reporter the role will encompass overseeing the film, not just film, but TV as well. Lin reportedly would be reporting directly to Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Vaslav. The proposed structure would bypass 3 separate division heads: Warner Brothers Pictures head Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi, HBO Max chief Casey Bloys, and Warner Brothers TV chair Channing Dungey, and put control of DC in the hands of one person. So Dan Lin has a long history, starting, I think the first credit that's listed on his IMDb is a development executive on Talk in 2004. His next credit, which is he also worked on The Departed the following year. So, I mean, 2 vastly different films. But yeah, he was involved in the Sherlock Holmes films, the Robert Downey ones, of course, the Lego movies. He was producer on It, and Death Note. Executive produced on the Godzilla films, the recent ones. Apparently he was even he worked on he oversaw the infamous and aborted Justice League feature that was to be directed by George Miller back in 2007/8.
Thank God that didn't happen now.
Wow, can you imagine? How do we feel? It's hard to say. It's not as obvious with producers how good they are or not.
Straight up, I'm going to say a very boring, straight to point answer. I think this makes absolutely no difference. I think that even if they put him in this role, that they are so fucked currently with the new leads from Discovery that I don't think it makes any difference. I think that I was sort of optimistic at the time that they were like when the Batgirl stuff was happening that like this is the worst it's going to be. But as the weeks continue and they continue to just do horrible things, I'm pretty sure Warner Brothers is going to Konami themselves. They're just gaming reference.
What, they're just going to get into pachinko machines?
They're just going to like continue to make horrible decisions to the point that they're doing like they've got some stuff they're making money off, but they're also just creatively void, and everyone thinks that they're a giant joke of a company. Is where I'm at currently with them. So,
wow.
You got all the release date news?
Yeah, I mean, of course, Shazam has been moved to March 2023. Aquaman 2 has been moved to December 2023. And I mean, the widespread rumor is that the reason is, I think James Wan said Aquaman is close to ready. But the rumor is they don't have enough money to actually put these movies out in cinemas. They only have enough money to put out Don't Worry, Darling, which we can get into in a second, and Black Adam. So, is not looking good over there. On top of that, they cancelled a bunch of other animated series headlined by Batman Cape Crusader, which was set to be the spiritual successor to Batman the Animated Series, with executive producers Bruce Timm, J.J. Abrams, and Matt Reeves. Although apparently these 6 animated projects that they've been cancelled from going to HBO Max are going to be shopped around to different provided streaming services or places. So, I mean, it's not like they're dead, but yeah, it's an interesting other.
Someone else buys
culling.
DC in the next under 3 to 5 years.
No.
Yep. Warner Brothers is going to run themselves into the ground. I reckon they're going to actually completely fuck themselves.
I think there's a fairly good chance that that could be a possibility.
I'm being realistic. I'm not saying in the next 12 months. I'm saying 3 to 5 years that Warner Brothers is fucked and they have to sell DC.
Or sell some. Yeah. I don't think they'll sell DC, but I wouldn't be surprised if they start shedding some IP. Or the games segment starts being offered, the studios start getting offered again. You know what I mean? Just different cost cutting or sale elements to Warner Brothers. So yeah. Do you want to get into the Don't Worry Darling stories? This movie is maybe the one with the most drama around it
really
in a long time.
Odd. Very odd.
So
Hashtag Team Pew.
I mean, it's all, I don't know how much of this is true or not.
It's all,
there's all the rumors. So the one singular piece of news that kind of came out this past week was that Florence Pugh is not doing any press for this movie except for she's going to be at the red carpet premiere at the Venice Film Festival, and then we'll be doing.
She's shooting June 2.
She's shooting June 2, so there's a reason why she might not be able to do press. Both films being done by Warner Brothers, so I assume they would have signed off. But for a long period of time now, this movie has been built on been pitting Olivia Wilde versus Florence Pugh, as if they had some problems on the set. Of course, Shia LaBeouf was involved in the film for a period of time, and then was fired, in quotation marks, by Olivia Wilde for being a distraction on set. Last week, he came out and did a interview with John Bernthal, which is like, hey, I left of my own volition. Here is some proof that, Olivia Wilde was trying to get me back on set. And then, of course, there's the whole Olivia Wilde's Harry Styles element of it also.
I think so. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with this. It's really weird. I'm still looking forward to watching it. I think the movie looks good, so hopefully that's a whole different thing. But from what I've gathered, so Olivia Wilde wants Shia to do the movie. He's on, and then at some stage, whether him, her, whoever, he leaves. Apparently Florence was never happy with him being on the movie set. Totally understandable. And the reason she gave is because of all his accusations about anyway, that's the whole thing. Everything shy, Google. So which is fair. So that's totally understandable. But then they're going, well, no, she never fired him, and then you've got these videos of Olivia Wilde, that she sent to him, and it was like, hey, hopefully you and Florence can work it out and you can get back on the movie or whatever else. So she was trying to get him to come back at least at some stage, because there is video.
In my opinion, that's like, I want to get this movie made. Can you please come back to work? You know what I mean?
So I don't know. All the Harry Styles stuff, odd.
How much is her relationship with Harry Styles is Harry Styles fans upset at her for?
The stans have always been upset at Olivia Wilde. I know that's a thing that from the start I've seen around. They generally hate her for being with him. I know that's a thing that the stans are all about. But yeah, it's just there's a lot of odd stuff out there with this movie. I don't really know. I still want to watch it. I think the movie looks good. Yeah. But yeah.
Do you think this outside drama affects the film?
No way. But most people would have no idea about this. This is if a lot of people barely know about Ezra Miller, there's no way most people know about this.
I feel like a lot of people know about Ezra Miller.
No, I bet you if I ask my mum and dad or who some layman's, maybe they're like, oh, who? What? There's no way the normal Joe Schmo knows about this shit.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's what's happening over at Warner Brothers. They're having a good time over there. We finally have our new Fantastic Four director, Matt Shankman, is in talks to helm Marvel's Fantastic Four movie. After playing a big part in helping to launch the Marvel Studios limited series WandaVision, Matt Shankman may be ready to help launch one of the studio's most prized properties. Sources tell Deadline that Shankman is in early talks to direct Fantastic Four. Of course, Shankman steps in for John Watts, who parted ways with the project in the spring. This makes a lot of sense. Obviously he did a fantastic job on WandaVision. Why wouldn't you? He's got a long history with... he's a TV director, so he's had a lot of different projects. He was going to direct a Star Trek movie. Apparently he's dropped out of that, so that seems to be... It seems like he will be directing Fantastic Four. You liked WandaVision. Do you think this is a good choice for Fantastic Four?
Yeah, I mean, I've no reason not to. I think it's more about the story than it is the director. Marvel directors sometimes get very paint by numbers roles depending on the director and the project. Depending on how much they're either they get someone with like a Sam Raimi and they're like, do your style a bit more. Or sometimes I feel some of the Marvel directors are very much like you're hired to direct a Marvel movie, you're going to do it a Marvel way sort of thing. So I think it more or less comes down to the more of the writing for Marvel stuff half the time. So I'm more interested to hear who's writing this thing.
That's true, yeah. Well, we're probably going to find out later this week. D23 is this coming week, so we might have to record emergency podcast as a
I'm expecting to do some
either here or over at All New Marvel Cast.
Yeah, subscribe to All New Marvel Cast, subscribe to Holocron Entries, and subscribe to this podcast.
Yeah, is that all our Disney content? I think so.
And subscribe to Arcade Cash, where we'll be talking about the
video game segment. Section. All right. 2 more award shows have announced that they're going gender neutral last week, fueling further speculation of the day when major award shows might follow suit and drop the distinction between actor and actresses. Organisers behind the Spirit Awards and the Canadian Screen Awards are following examples set by the Recording Academy, MTV, and the Gotham Film and Media Institute.
And Exploding.com.
I guess I think it was more like it's less work. That's why.
No, we were doing it before it was cool. We were doing it before everyone else did. So,
I mean, the idea of non-gendered awards began to pick up steam when the MTV and TV Awards dropped gender-specific categories in 2017. So, I think that's probably before us.
I don't think so, but that's fine.
But yeah, last year the Gotham Awards converted to gender-free approach after 8 years of handing out separate actor and actress awards. President of Film Independent said, "It's something we've been discussing for a while. There was a lot of enthusiasm for a while, but there has also been some apprehension about it. It's a big change, and I think we've really wanted to talk about it through carefully and make sure it was the right thing to do. Just to keep it on the Spirit Awards, for almost 40 years, we've honored writers, directors, producers, editors, cinematographers without reference to gender." I assume you're very pro the idea of the Academy Awards potentially down the line.
Yeah, I mean, the only problem you have with this stuff is something. So depending on the award company or whatever you call it, the body, some can be trusted to be a little bit more less. Let's just make sure all the straight white dudes win most awards, sort of stuff. So having a separate category to make sure women get their due diligence is helpful in some cases. But if the academy and stuff get their shit together and can actually just give the awards out to people, I do think similar. The reason I like us doing it is because it frees up, and this is the same reason I feel like everyone else should do it. Is you get to just you free up and you can do different sorts of categories. So you can do, instead of doing a best lead female, less best lead male, do something like a lot of other places, including us, do best lead in a genre. Do best lead.
Yes.
Yeah, you get genre leads. That means that you can then give more time to the genre stuff that don't get times at the academies more. The comedy films, the horror films, these sorts of things that get usually swept straight under the rug. It means that potentially those people can have a win the same as your drama wins. So, and I think that doing the gender neutral stuff makes a lot of sense, especially in a world where, okay, what happens if a non-binary actor is nominated? Where the fuck do you put them? It's
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good move. I don't think the Academy or the Emmys will ever do it, just because one, they don't want to give out less awards.
But I just said,
and two, it's just a history, like the lineage is an element of it as well.
Yeah, but how about the non-binary people?
Just add a non-binary category if there's enough nominees.
There's never going to be enough nominees. There is never going to be enough nominees.
If you start giving out an award, there'll be put more nominees.
Okay. We'll see.
I don't know. Maybe. It's an interesting discussion. Probably one that will be, addressed more and more in the future. But yeah, I think it's very unlikely. Get movie tickets for just $3 on September 3rd. This was a promotion over in America. On September 3rd, 3,000 theaters in the United States were taking part in the newly launched National Cinema Day that would see movie tickets sold for $3 a piece, regardless of showing or format. This is, of course, an initiative to try and get more people to go to the cinema by dropping the price down. Dylan, do you think this is a initiative that can actually work?
I'm gonna go watch so many 3D movies without that surcharge. $3 only. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's do it. Avatar. They're bringing it back to cinemas. Now's your time. $3.
Do you actually think this is a good
yeah,
long-term move?
Yeah, no, I feel like it's a good idea. People don't like to go into the cinemas. Everyone reckons it costs too much. Everyone hates going to the cinemas. I just want to watch at home. I think anything that gets people back in the cinemas where they can appreciate that the cinema has to stay around because of the atmosphere, because of the big screen, because of the whole vibe of seeing movies like Top Gun Maverick on huge fucking screens is never going to be replaceable in your home as much as people like to believe it is. As much as I love my TV, as much as I love a bunch of big TVs that you can buy, cinema exists, will continue to exist, and all you people who don't want it to continue existing, you need to go buy a $3 ticket, go watch some fucking movies, and see why the cinema is still great.
I mean, yeah, it's a good idea, I guess, and like a one-off day, like, cool. I think the timing is the problem. Just, it would have been cooler when there was actual, like, big movies coming out. I'm sure though, like, the studios probably wouldn't have wanted it to be when
people don't want people paying $3 to
out.
go watch Spider-Man or whatever. Yeah.
But when you're getting or you can go see all the movies that everybody's talked about already. It's like, or a lot of these movies that are still playing are like available in at home. Like Top Gun in America is still number 2 at the box office. Could be number 1 over the weekend. That just came to home rentals, or whatever. Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting idea. But, I don't think it's going to have the long term. I think it's just like, hey, it's $3. Let's go see a movie. I don't think those people go, yeah, let's keep going to the movies and paying several times more than $3.
1 out of 10. I don't know.
All right, interesting study that was shared by comicbook.com from the website organicbabyformula.com that charted the influence of Disney characters on baby names. So this is based on the increase in popularity based on increase in popularity ranking 1 year after the debut of that character in their movie. So Dylan, out of all the Disney properties, what name do you think would be the one that had the most influence on making people name their children?
Any character from Frozen.
Yeah, there's a couple. Kristoff is number 2. It went up 6,765 ranks. Olaf went up 3,128 ranks.
Olaf went up. That's
Elsa went up 241.
Yeah.
Yep. You haven't got number 1 though. Do you want to have another guess?
Number 1, Winnie the Pooh. Christopher Robin.
Absolutely none.
No, okay.
Not on
Toy
the
Story.
list at all. No. Nothing from Toy Story.
Fuck a duck. The Scottish one.
Brave?
Yep.
No.
Okay.
That's on the list.
Okay.
Oh no, Meridia. She's number 5.
Is it Pocahontas?
No, it's not Pocahontas.
I was gonna say that's gonna be some wild shit. No, I don't know.
That would be. So the number 1 is Quill. It went up
What's Quill?
8,457 rankings
Who's
a
Quill?
year after release. Quill. Peter Quill.
The rabbit?
Peter Quill, as in Star-Lord.
Oh! I didn't even think of Marvel. I was just thinking animated shit.
Yeah. So Quill is number 1. Kristoff was number 2 for biggest influence. Ray was number 3. Aladdin was number 4. So apparently there was a bunch of Aladdins going around.
Or Jasmine's, surely.
Jasmine not as high. She's right at the bottom of this list of 30 games. So the reason this article came up is because there is one name that is surprisingly on this list. If you could think of what is the most unlikely character name, or the most inappropriate, some would say.
Darth Vader.
Kylo is on the list.
Snoke.
Nope. Think more Marvel.
Thanos.
Yep. People are calling their children Thanos.
I'm so sorry for those kids.
I mean, yeah. This is a ad. Don't call your children Thanos.
Don't call your child Thanos. Just have to explain that when they're on. Like, oh, what am I named after? Oh, back in my day with these movies, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we named you after the big bad guy from the first phase of those movies, who committed like mass genocide to try and save the universe. That's
we
your
thought he
name.
was right.
Yeah, thought he was right. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, your mum had a thing for him. It's weird. Yeah, that's a weird story. I'm pretty sure this is American, so based on American people, surely. So yeah. All right, let's move into giving some thumbs to some trailers. Of course, you find all the trailers for this week by going to by checking out the show notes below. The first trailer is for Cyberpunk Edge Runner. So this is being done by Studio Trigger. A street kid tries to survive in a technology and body modification obsessed city of the future. With everything to lose, he chooses to stay alive by becoming an edge runner, a mercenary outlaw, also known as a cyberpunk. Dylan, what did you think of this not safe for work trailer?
Yeah, no, it looks very good. Looks very much like Trigger Studio, whatever they're called, Trigger Studio. Production Studio Trigger. Fuck, it's like tried twice, got it wrong. Looks very much like their style, which I think suits the cyberpunk, obviously, property. Like very vibrant, very loud. I think that part there where it's like kicks into the music and like tapping the foot and everything from then onwards is just like, you know, people dying, shit going crazy. So, yeah, I'm keen. Obviously, I like a bunch of their stuff that I've watched. I watched a little Witch short thing, the Star Wars stuff. I was a big Kill la Kill fan. So yeah, I'm keen for sure.
Yeah, this has been more keen for anything cyberpunk since, that first yellow delay tile.
I'll go double thumbs up.
I'll also go double thumbs up. This is a wild trailer with a bunch of action, very little story content, which I guess would be my only gripe against it. But yeah, it looks like a wild time. So yeah, this is coming to Netflix on September 13th, so not far away. Speaking of things not far away, let's talk about the next trailer for Pinocchio. No, not the Pinocchio we talked about last week. The other Pinocchio, the one being made by Disney. The one directed by Robert Zemeckis, starring Tom Hanks, Cynthia Erivo, Luke Evans, Benjamin Evan Ainsworth, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Keegan-Michael Key. In an Italian village, the wooden puppet Pinocchio is brought to life by the Blue Fairy and seeks a life adventure while striving to be a real boy. Dylan, what do you think of this trailer?
I think it's definitely better, like, actually seeing Pinocchio than any of the teasers where they just were confused to show Pinocchio, even though the whole movie's about Pinocchio. It was a very weird way to tease something. But yeah, it looks good. Very much looks like Pinocchio. It looks very much like a Robert Zemeckis movie to me. It's he's like sort of a very paint by numbers director these days when he does these things. But it'll have Tom Hanks. It'll have CGI. It's No, I sort of want to watch it. I loved Pinocchio when I was a kid. It was one of my favorites of Disney films. I'm like as a young kid, so a bit of nostalgia there for it. Puppet looks weird. I know that obviously they want it to look like a puppet, and that's the whole idea. But maybe it's a thing
It's
like
the painted on eyes.
Yeah, which like it's the thing. Like obviously it's a puppet come to life, so you can't make it look too real or else it defeats the whole purpose. But maybe it's that thing where in animation, because everything's animated, like having like it just works a lot better. So yeah. That's the one factor here.
What do you give it?
Oh, 1 up, 1 down. I'll go 1 up, 1 down.
I'm also going 1 up, 1 down. I think it's it's fine. It looks like Pinocchio. It looks like they're skewing very closely to the movie series events, even with like full anthropomorphic characters. Like that fox dude that like talks to him. You got Jiminy Cricket. That's kind of cool, I guess. But yeah, Pinocchio looks weird. With his painted on eyes, and then they do the nose thing where he tells a lie. It's like, oh, what happened? It's fairy magic. A little bit
credits
on the nose, if you ask me. Come on, Jiminy.
Sure.
You're better than that.
Jiminy
better
Cricket.
than that. But yes, so this is releasing on Disney Plus September 8th, so later this week for Disney Plus Day. Next trailer is for The Inspection, directed by Elegance Bratton, starring Jeremy Pope, Raul Castillo, McCall Lombardi, Aaron Dominguez, Nicholas Logan, Eben Esfandi, Andrew Kay, Aubrey Joseph, Bochum Woodbine, and Gabrielle Union. Rejected by his mother, a young Bay man finds unexpected strength, camaraderie, and support after he joins the Marines. Dylan, what did you think of this latest A24 trailer?
I was confused at first because I was like, oh, big military. Like at first I was watching the trailer, like, is this just like some pro-military, like movie? And then I got like, it wasn't towards the end. I'm like, oh, wait, no, I see what's going on here. Like he's obviously a gay man and whatever else is happening in his life. So no, I'm going double thumbs up. By the time I watched the end, but I was confused at first. I say 24, so double thumbs up. What am I saying? Well, I never had any doubt. This movie was always going to be good. What am I on about? But no, by the time I got to the end, I was super intrigued, and I think it looks like potentially like a sleeper award winner sort of thing. Like I could definitely, it hits all the notes for what sort of wins award movies. But that first like just 30 seconds, I was like, what the fuck is this for A24? This is a weird A24 movie. But yeah. Double thumbs up by then.
Yeah, this is double thumbs up for me. This looks very good. I really enjoyed Jeremy Pope in the Netflix miniseries Hollywood. I thought it was the best part of that show. So excited to see him in something else. I think he's been doing mostly theater since that. Or he showed up briefly in One Night in Miami, I think. But yeah, I think it looks really good. Like, I was worried as well. It's like this a pro-military story about a gay guy's like, hey, we can be in the military too.
It's like, hey, you have to take shit and people asking you, yell in your face, asking you if you're a homosexual. But like, fuck yeah, join the army's great.
But no, yeah, it looks like it's like about camaraderie ship and other stuff.
And like how bad it is that the military probably is like fucking homophobic and whatever.
But it goes a lot to say I'd rather go to this Marines homophobic situation than, be with my mother. So yeah. There is currently no release date for The Inspection in Australia, but it is releasing in the United States on the November 18th. Next trailer is for Confess, Fletch, directed by Greg Mottola, starring John Hamm, Marsha Gay Harden, Kyle MacLachlan, Roy Wood Jr., and John Slattery. After becoming a suspect in a string of murders, an investigator strives to prove his innocence while searching for his fiance's stolen art collection. Dylan, what did you think of this?
So I've watched the Chevy Chase Fletch movies like years and years and years ago. My dad definitely put those on when I was younger, and I do know like that's the like. So if you say Fletch, I'm automatically picturing the Chevy Chase movies. I know they're based on a book or some shit like that, I think. But,
yes.
So yeah, it's been ages since I watched them. Watching this trailer, and I had no idea they were making this. As soon as I saw the title "Confess Fletch," I'm like, "Is that like Fletch, like an actual Fletch?" And it was. So that was until a second ago when I watched the trailer, I had no idea this movie existed. But as soon as I read the title, I was like, "Is it?" And then it was. So I'm keen. I like those Chevy Chase movies. I like the idea of John Hamm looks great in the role. Definitely the bumbling buffoon. Like, it's different to Chevy Chase, but also good, I think, based on what I'm seeing here. Made me want to rewatch the Chevy Chase one as well, so that's a thing. But yeah, it definitely looks like the movie looks like a whatchamacallit movie, like the way the trailer at least edited. Looks like a Soderbergh, like Ocean's 11 or even like a Be Cool or Get Smart. I can't remember who directed that, but that sort of stylization happening. So I'm going double thumbs up. I think it looks good.
Wow. I'll give it 1 up, 1 down. I think it looks solid. I don't have the attachment to Fletch. I don't think I've ever watched. I didn't watch either of the Fletch films. But John Hamm, like in a straight up comedy, that's going to be good rather than, leading a straight up comedy, I guess, rather than like being a supporting role in a comedy. I like Roy Wood Jr. He's in this. And yeah, I mean, it'll be a fun, like kind of quirky mystery, I guess, who done it. Yeah, so I'm keen to check this out. So this also does not have an Australian release date, but is coming to American cinemas 16th of September.
And does that say and digital at the same time?
Digital at the same time.
So maybe it just comes.
And then it's getting
here.
shown on Showtime in October.
Okay.
It's very weird. Final trailer for this week. Weird. The Al Yankovic story. Directed by Eric Apple. Starring Daniel Radcliffe, Evan Rachel Wood, Rainn Wilson, Toby Huss, Julianne Nicholson, and Quinta Brunson. Rebellious and unconventional singer Weird Al Yankovic becomes famous for changing the words to world-renowned songs. However, his excessive lifestyle and infamous romance nearly destroy him. Dylan, what do you think of Weird?
I really like this. So I've listened to, I think, every Weird Al Yankovic album. I remember when, again, my dad would have showed me Weird Al stuff at some point when I was like a teenager, I guess, or maybe like a 12-year-old. Oh no, it would have been was 12 a teenager? Like around that's
I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Depends on how long into 12.
Yeah. Okay. So I reckon around there is when I started. I remember getting just like the Michael Jackson rips. I probably were the first ones, like Reason the Fat Suit and everything like that. The Yarmish song and all those all the videos, of course, are bangers. And then I think around it was the following year or a couple of years later that he put out the I think it was maybe 2005 album where he did the White Boy one or whatever, the take on so White and Nerdy, yeah, which was massive, of course. So I have a big I definitely have a soft spot for Weird Al. And I really appreciate him as sort of the king of the rip, what are you going to call it, rip off parody songs. Yeah, and it's crazy because he has all these massive hits, and if you've only ever heard his massive stuff, if you don't listen to albums, you wouldn't know. So it does have the polka songs and some more originally sort of stuff amongst it, even if they are sort of they are comedy still, but they're not straight parody songs. They're a bit different. So I love the fact that this, in keeping with him, is just 100% bullshit, and the movie is very much just a parody and rip off of music biopics, which is fantastic. And I love that Daniel Radcliffe, I've seen a lot of tweets about this, people are like, man, Daniel Radcliffe and Robert Pattinson and someone else, I think they were calling out, really did their big budget. Yeah. Christian Stewart and all these, they did these big budget movies, and they were like, all right, I'm just going to go do whatever I want now, which is very much Daniel Radcliffe's career. Yeah, it's great. I think I'm going double thumbs up. I can't wait for this personally. I think it looks funny. Yeah,
it's double thumbs up from me as well. Also, Weird Al fan, appreciate him. I don't think I've listened to every album, but you hear his songs. He's a good time. Great personality. Loves his poker. Yeah, just so many funny
the part of the
moments.
trailer is your son was at a poker party.
Yeah, I think my favorite bit was, we need to change your name. Weird Al Yankovic. It's too long.
No.
I don't understand.
Al Yankovic. Too long, can't understand it. Weird Al Yankovic. Just Daniel Radcliffe's face where he's like, love it, or whatever. It's perfect. Yeah.
And just
the Madonna stuff as well.
Yeah, it gets into a massive relationship with Madonna.
Yeah, Madonna's like Madonna's making you say crazy stuff or whatever, like gets into this rock and roll relationship with Madonna. Yeah, it's fucking, I love it. I love how Weird Al's actually in this as well as a dude who like he throws the tape to you.
Like a record executive or whatever.
Executive or whatever, yeah.
Crazy. So again, this has got no current release date for Australia. It is releasing on the Roku channel in America. Whatever that is.
Look, just put up an iTunes outside there and I'll pay for it.
Just let me pay for it. Yes, let me watch it.
I want to watch it. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. This is the new Walk Hard, is what it's starting to get billed as.
Yeah, I saw some people be like, "Oh, Walk Hard did it first." I'm like,
who cares who did it first?
It's a parody of music, like biopics. I'm pretty like Walk Hard.
I mean, we did also have. Well, I guess Pop Stars wasn't a parody.
Fucking Spinal Tap.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like everyone's suddenly all these people who, and again, they are around like our age or whatever. Like, well, Walk Hard, the whatever Cole story did it first. I'm like, all right, dude, chill out. Like, I understand. Like, there's a big fan base of that movie, and like maybe more people should watch it. It is very funny, especially that room where he like starts doing drugs a lot or whatever. Like, walks into the coke room consistently. That's quite funny. But there's a bunch of movies, including like off the top of my head, Spinal Tap, that did music parodies before that fucking movie did. So let's all calm the hell down.
Let's calm down. All right, let's wrap up this week's episode of What Do You Want to Watch with our What Do You Want to Watch top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
In honor of DC League of Super Pets, I thought we'd create our own League of Super Pets by coming up with our top 3 pets in media. Dylan, what's your number 3?
Number 3, why are you smiling? Like, you think this is going to be, like, what are you expecting here?
I have no idea.
My number 3, Nick Wilde from Zootopia.
Okay.
I love that movie.
I don't know if I call him a pet.
What? I'm just going animals.
Okay. That's
going
fine.
Animals. Well, it's, if we're going with DC, I figured you said pets. However, DC League superheroes, although they're not all pets, they're just animals, right? Some of them are not even.
I don't want to spoil the movie, but they become pets.
All right.
It's fine. Let's keep going. I mean, it's your top 3, so you know.
Yeah, all right. Tell me how to do my top 3 this week, not like any other week where you're like, whatever's floats your boat.
Yeah.
However you read it, Dylan. You know, this week it's all very serious when we're talking about animals. Nick Wilde from Zootopia. It's one of my favorite movies that the Disney Pixar's put out. Recent memory. That's just a Disney one, right? Yes.
Yeah, it's a Disney
Zootopia
movie.
is just so one of my favorite Disney releases of recent memory. I love those characters. I hope we get a sequel. But yeah, Nick Wilde, Zootopia.
Yeah. When is that animated series they promised us coming?
Yeah, what the fuck?
I'm sure it's going to be like the what we had with Groot, where it's like 6 minutes.
I'll still take it. I'll take anything I can get at this stage. I just want a short where it's not. It's like one very prolonged sloth joke as well. That'd be great.
Yeah. My number 3. It's Airbud. What a dog.
That's not a pet. That's a fucking basketball player. Oh my god.
He can play basketball. He can play baseball. He can play football. Any team you need him to come into, you put him in. He'll do a good job. Yeah. You know, as a kid, like I watched a lot of those Bud films. I think I saw Air Bud in cinemas, which is crazy.
You are old, so that makes sense.
That could be. That could be. Let me just quickly do the math. So Air Bud came out 1997. So yeah, that's plausible. So yeah,
I was like 5. So.
Yeah, I would be a little bit older, probably like 9. So yeah, Air Bud is my number 3. Dylan, what's your number 2?
My number 2 pet in media that is most definitely not a pet but an animal is Paddington. Paddington 2.
Yep. Okay.
Love that bear.
How could you not? He's a great bear.
Why do you see my number 1 pick?
Man, this League of Pets is going to be great.
You keep going.
My number 2 is Gromit from Wallace and Gromit.
That motherfucker isn't a pet.
He's his dog.
He's his friend.
Dog.
Friend.
I mean, a dog is a man's best friend.
Yeah.
So, I mean, both can be true. You know, this dog is super smart, does all these things for Wallace, saves him from terrible penguins. And, you know, those Wallace and Gromit movies look fantastic. Crazy.
My favorite
Crazy
was
how
that
good they are.
werewolf one. What the fuck is that called? That one's great. I love that one.
Yeah, Attack of the Were something.
Whatever something. Yeah, that's great. I love that one.
Were Rabbit?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Sounds like the Rabbids game, but yeah.
Dylan, what's your number one?
My number one thing that is most definitely not a pet, but is an animal in a movie, is Jaws from Jaws. The best animal in movie history. Come on.
The best pet
The
in
best.
animals.
Yeah, like, come
Yeah,
on.
the best pet.
He's someone's pet.
Yeah, okay.
He's God's
I
pet.
tell
You know, all animals are God's pets, Ash. All right? Fucking hell.
My number one is Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, that's not a pet.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
He trains him and stuff.
Mm.
I mean, this one was the one that was stretching it the most. But yeah, those fantastic. He's great in How to Train Your Dragon.
You don't need
You
to
know,
worry about
and
stretching
in
it.
true pet animal history, he sets him free at the end
Mm.
to live alone his
Spoilers.
own life. Sorry to spoil the third movie, but yeah. So imagine a league of these super pets.
Yep.
Toothless.
Yep.
Paddington.
Yep.
Nick Wilde.
Yep.
Gromit.
Nick Wilde's riding Toothless.
Airbud. And Jaws.
Someone make the fan art.
Oh my god, I think this might have worked out great. Let us know. Let us know your top 3 pets by going to explosion.com/Twitter or jumping into our Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser, or tell people about the show. Leave us 5 stars. Anyone can leave 5 stars. And if you like this episode, thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko page at explosion.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching us. Keep watching stuff like this.
You can't edit that out. That's too good.